Do you use Airtable for project management and you want to make task templates that are dependent on previous tasks? So you want to say, take a t-shirt sizing examples. We have small, medium, and large projects. A small project is going to have this set of tasks. Task 3 is going to be dependent on task 2 being done. If I look at a medium sized task template, then maybe task 5 is going to be dependent on 4. Task 3 is going to be dependent on 2, and so on and so forth. So in this video, we're going to be doing exactly that. But first, let's check out Airtable. We're in dark mode today, so if it looks not quite like what yours looks like, that's fine. It is still Airtable. We're building this all in the native editor. I just have it on dark mode. If you're curious about dark mode, throw a comment in the comments section. But back to Airtable, we already have this basic project management template that we've been working on. And I'll actually include a link at the end of the video if you're curious about one of the other things we've been working on, which is recurring tasks. But with this, we have people, projects, and tasks in this database already. So people, projects, and tasks. Now within these tables, what we want to start doing is we want to have on the projects table, we want to denote a t-shirt size. So small, medium, large. We want to then generate a standard set of tasks from a task template where we're going to set up dependencies. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to need a few tables. But first, let's check out the interfaces. So we do have like some basic interfaces. We have a getting started page in here, which was added by the Airtable template. We have some interfaces already set up. So at the end of this video, I am going to give a link to this base. So if you get lost during the video or I'm going too fast, feel free to pause it throughout the video. But if you need this base as a template, you want to go click and see what the automations I built were. I'm going to give a link at the end of the video to where you can get a link to this base. You'll just like go sign up, put your email in, and you'll get copied on the base. And what you'll get to do when you get this version of the base is you'll be able to come into the base and duplicate the base into your own workspace. You'll get invited as read-only when I add you. But back to the video, we're going to be adding in here a t-shirt size. So what I usually do, the easiest way to do this is I add 2 different tables in here. So I say this is going to be a templates table, something super simple like small, medium, large. I'm going to delete these other fields from this. And then we're going to add a linked record to a new table. This is going to be task templates. In task templates, we're going to say small. This is in our linked record, medium, large. I just want to real quick, I want to group by that field. And then I want to say task 1, task 2. Okay, so we have tasks 1 through 7 on a large project. On a medium project, we'll have that be a little bit smaller. So you have tasks 1 through 5. And then on a small project, we're just going to have 3 tasks. So if I have a project and it's going to be a large project, I want to generate the large project tasks. Medium, I want to generate the medium project tasks. Normally what I would go do is I would go show you a bunch of setting different defaults like calculating due dates, assignee fields, notes fields to set up true task templates. The main purpose of this video though is to just show how to build task templates that are dependent on other tasks, because that's where a lot of people get hung up. But back to the Airtable here, we have this set up. Now we need to make things dependent. So if I make things dependent in here, I'm going to add a linked record to the task templates. And I'm going to, I don't know if I can filter records by a condition. This is a relatively new feature that I want to try out. So I want to say templates has any of, make this dynamic and choose the templates field. Perfect. So the idea behind this is when I open up this dropdown now, I'm only going to be able to select from the 5 tasks for medium. If I go down to small, I'm only going to be able to select the 1, 2, 3 from small. This is a nice little filter add just to make record selecting easier when I don't have a perfect primary field where each record is truly unique based on that primary field. So let's just go in here. Task 3 is going to be dependent on task 2. Task 5 on this one is going to be dependent on task 4. And actually, let's say task 3. Task 7 is going to be dependent on task 6. 6 is dependent on 5. 5 is dependent on 4. Okay, so we've got this started. Now I'm going to show 2 automations on how to do this. And again, I'm going to get you a link to this base if you want to copy it, and you get all the interfaces, you get everything that I built into it. Just at the end of the video, I'll get you a link so you can see how to generate dependent task templates on your own. Okay, so we'll need 2 automations. I'm going to create a new section in here. This is going to be task template generation. You're going to need 2 automations. The first one is going to be generate task templates. The second automation is going to be assign dependencies on task templates. Generate task templates is going to be fairly simple. I'm going to go to the projects table. I'm going to add a field. This is kind of like my feedback loop field. I'm going to come in here and add 2 statuses. So generate tasks. I usually put in parentheses automation at the end so that people know this is like doing something. Tasks generated. Okay. So, and this is going to be tasks trigger. So the workflow that I want is I want to add a new project. I want to say, here's the template. So I'm going to add a linked record to the templates table. So new test project. I add my new test project. I say the template that I want is the medium one. I want to say generate tasks automation. And then I want that to trigger my thing, my automation. So I'm going to say in the projects table, when the tasks trigger is generate tasks, and that templates field has a value in it, meaning it's not empty. I then want to go repeat. Well, first I want to go find all the records in the tasks templates table. Task templates table. So I want to go find the records based on the condition that the templates field in the task templates table has any of the templates linked record that I chose on the project. So using a little blue plus, I can pull from any field from the triggering record. So I'm going to pull the templates field. So if I run that test, for a medium project, I should get 5 tasks. It should say, you returned 5 tasks, task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect. I'm going to have this repeating group repeat for each item in the selected input list. So find records, use this as a list. I then want to go create records in the tasks table. I'm going to fill in the projects linked record. And I also am going to not fill in the predecessor yet. That's soon. That's coming. But I'm also going to fill in the tasks field. So the current item, which is what it defaults to now as you're adding items within this repeating group, the current item is going to be whatever like record you're on in that repeating group. So I'm going to insert the name there, but for the project, I triggered off of the project. So I need to go to the trigger step. I'm going to click right here and I'm going to click the record ID from the project. Now I forgot to add a field to the tasks table, and that tasks table is now going to link to the task templates. Okay, back to the automations. I actually want to also fill in that field when I create this. So task templates, let's see. Based on the current list, I want to use the record ID from the current list and turn that on. So let's go see this in action. If I go back to the projects here, I'm going to say just get this back in this status and expand this, and I should see tasks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, they didn't come in the perfect order, which I think is fine. And yeah, what we could have done to solve that, if you want to go do this on your own, is right here. I could have sorted the list using this sort list feature, but that's not the purpose of the video. So, and you could argue that what I'm about to do could be solved in one automation potentially by doing all of this using the sort list feature. But I think it's too complicated and I don't think it's foolproof. Whereas I do think this system I'm about to show you is foolproof. So I think if I go down to the bottom here, you'll notice this task templates field is filled in. And I want to then look up from the task templates. I don't think I added this in here perfectly. I didn't name it perfectly. So from the tasks table, the way we named it in here is predecessors. So the predecessor for task 5 is task 4 in this example. So from the tasks table, I want to look up the predecessors. So predecessors right here. Now how this works, well, let's just go figure out the most foolproof way to do it. So the reason why I'm doing this in 2 separate automations is because I'm not using the sort list feature. I don't want it to trigger in the wrong order and for the next automation to fail because a task wasn't created. You can either just trust me or you can dig into that statement. What I want to do is I want to, on the templates table, count the number of records in my task templates. And on my projects table, I want to count the number of records on the templates where task templates is not empty. And I want to look that up from here. So actually I want to look that field up. Here I think I did choose the wrong one. I want to count the number of tasks where the templates field is not empty. And you'll see right now these fields are the same. But when I go add a new one and I say generate a small one, you'll notice this field goes from 1 to 2 to 3. See, like that. 1, 2, 3. Because these fields, the tasks from the template get generated in like sequential, or like they get generated in order. Now there is a way, yeah, let's make this all one field. So you can actually make this, we're going to save ourselves on a field just because I like to be efficient. It just doesn't matter what field you choose because we're going to use a formula that will tell you. Choosing any field in the link table will produce the same result. So it really doesn't matter which field we chose here. We just had to choose a field so long as we still add our condition. So this is like the same exact field as we had a second ago. It's just now a roll up instead. And what I want to do is I want to compare that to this one. So I want to say count all equals this other field that I just had added, and this equals 1. So you'll see when I go add a new one, so this time I'll add a large, it's not ready to generate dependencies until this field equals 1. So this is why I'm adding a separate automation, because there's an undefined time delay. Okay, so let's go into the automation, and I'm going to say when a record matches, when a record matches conditions on the projects table, that field equals 1, and our tasks trigger is still stuck in that status. What I first want to do is I want to update that task. So let's say that I want to update the projects table. I want to use the record ID from the triggering record, and I want to update the task trigger to be task generated. Then what I want to go do is I want to go find all the records in the tasks table based on a condition where they're linked up to this project. So the project is dynamic based on the record ID, and the task templates field, well, actually the predecessors, is not empty. What I'm going to do next is create a formula. Let's see. Yeah, create a formula. Say predecessors and that. This is going to be one of those dev fields because I only need this for the automation. The purpose of this field is to convert it into text because this lookup field here, Airtable treats that as an array. So I'm just saving ourselves a step in the future. But I'm going to add a repeating list here from this find records action. Use that as the list. Let's run all of these tests. So I'm going to run it on this one. That's going to find the few tasks that do have like a predecessor that needs to be assigned. Now we need to go find the predecessor, and then we're going to update the record in the list. So we're going to update from the current record in the list the predecessors from the find records. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself slightly, but we're going to say find records in the tasks table based on a condition. I just want to get ahead of this, otherwise it'll hurt my brain when I'm going back to think about it. So in this update record, we're going to fill in the predecessors field with the predecessor we found right here. Make a list of record IDs. So right here in this find record, this is where we need to go find the predecessors. And how we find that is based on the task and the project and the task templates being not empty. So to find a predecessor, we know that the task template would not be empty because it was generated from the task templates. And a little bit of this is just trying to foolproof it as well. Both of these are going to be dynamic. The tasks field, to go back to show you why I can't use this predecessors. If I come through here, it's grayed out because Airtable considers this a list. You can see it says task 3, so it looks like it should work, but you're like, why can't this work? It's because it's an array. If I come back in here and I choose this formula field that outputs as text, it'll accept that. And then projects here, we triggered off the project record. And so we're going to assign the project record ID right there. Now let's try this all again. So from the tasks table, I'm just going to go, well, actually, let's delete these projects right here. I'm going to clear all that out. I'm just going to clear out a bunch of stuff here so that we can see all this work. From the projects table, I'm going to say, let's generate a medium project list. And in the tasks table, it should go create task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I set all this up correctly, that should then trigger our predecessors. So you can see in here, task 5 is now dependent on task 4. And task 4 is dependent on task 3, which if we go look at the medium task list, those are the only dependencies we had set up as a default in here. And back on the projects table, tasks have now been generated and we're all good to go. So that's how you set up predecessors. Again, if you want a link to copy this base, I'll send in a link down in the pinned comment and the description. You can get a copy of this base. It'll share you on it. You have to come in here and duplicate the base. If you are interested in learning more about project management in Airtable and you want to learn how to do recurring tasks, I'm going to show you a really simple way to do recurring tasks in Airtable in the video here in the end screen. So go click on the end screen if you want to go learn. If you figured this out, you want to go do simple recurring tasks in Airtable, go click the video on the end screen. If you want a copy of the space, go down in the description or the pinned comment, and you can copy the space and you can see what all I've done to it. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Go click the video on the end screen.